All right, here we go with lesson 2.4. The learning target is to be able to write percents that are greater than 100, so more than 100%. So like 200% or 300% or 550%. More than 100%. You have more than the whole. All right, you want to be able to write that. And percents that are less than 1%, very small. So point something percent, just really small. Write those as decimals and fractions. Okay? So I have some percents here. I'm going to take these percents and I'm going to show you how to write them as decimals, how to write them as fractions. I always like to go from a percent to a decimal first. Once I get a decimal, then I can easily go to a fraction. Okay? So I like to do decimal first. Now this is 0.25. 0.25%. So it's less than 1%. It's very small. So I have to write it just like it is, 0.25%. And remember that we're going this way to get rid of that percent symbol. We want to get rid of it. So it goes down and out, down and out. And I'm going to put some zeros here because I think I'll need some place values to go the other way. So I start from where the decimal point is, and I got to go this way, 2. 1, 2. Okay, then I get rid of that, and then I get rid of that. Okay, don't need this one, don't actually need this one. My decimal, 0.25% is 0.0025. Okay, now that I have it in a decimal form, I can put it in a fraction because I know the place value. Place value is key on this. Tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000ths. So you go to the farthest one over here, the farthest one away from the decimal, and you say what that is. That place value is my 10,000ths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 10,000 on the bottom. And then I look whatever I have here. I have a 5, a 2, so it's 25. If I get rid of the decimal, it's just 25. So my fraction is 25 10,000ths. Now, I know that these can each be divided by 5. I want to make sure I simplify it always. That's going to give me 5, and that's going to be 2,000. Okay, but I can do it by 5 again. Divided by 5, divided by 5. That gets me 1, and that gets me 400. There's my fraction. Okay? So, I took it from 0.25%, really small, decimal 0.0025, really small, and then 1 over 400. So these three are exactly the same amount of something. Let's think about this. Say I take a test, 400 questions. I get one of them right. I get one of them right, not many. So 1 out of 400, here's the decimal to that. Old timer, sorry about that. Okay, so 1 out of 400, then I have 0.0025, and then sometimes on papers I put a percentage, like if you get 75% or 80% or 95%. This one would be 0.25%. 1 right out of 400. That's not good, is it? That's really small. 1 out of 400? Very, very small. So it's 0.25%. All right, let's do it with something that's greater. I have 300%. Let's take it to a decimal. 300%. This one, the decimal is right here at the beginning. When you always have a whole number, the decimal is to the farthest to the right. So now I want to take it 2 over. 1, 2. And I have 3.00. Do I need those zeros? No. 3.00 is the same as 3. So I'm just going to say that my decimal, which is a whole number, 300% is the same as 3. If I want to put that as a fraction, 3 over 1, which is 3. Okay, there you go. 300% is 3 is 3. Okay, let's do 530%. 530%. When I have a whole number like this, I know my decimal's there. I want to go this way to get rid of this part. So I go 1, 2. Right there. Then I got rid of all this. So my decimal is 5.30. Do I need this 0 here? No. So my decimal, 530%, is the same as 5.3. Now, to put it into a fraction, I know I have 5 whole numbers, and then 0.3 is a fraction. It's 3, and this is tenths, 5 3/10. Okay, 5 3/10. If I wanted to take this to a fraction first, when it's over 100%, I could take it to a fraction first. Because when anything's a percent, 530, it's that many 530 over 100. So this and this are the same. So I could have gone right to a fraction and then simplified this to be 530. I could also have taken this and said 530 divided by 100 and got 5.3 also. Okay, so you got to really think about this. How do I get this percent to a decimal? And then once I have it to a decimal, how do I make it into a fraction? Okay, let's go the other way. Now I have some fractions here, I have some decimals here. I want to take my fractions, put it into a decimal, put it into a percent. All right, I like to go to decimals first. So, decimal. I know I have 2 whole numbers. I could just say this is going to be 2.9 tenths. 9 tenths. I could make this into a 2 times 10 is 20, 29 tenths. And then I get my calculator out, and I go 29 divided by 10. I'm going to get 2.9. Okay? Once I have 2.9, now I want to put this thing back here, so I got to take this, and I got to go this way. I'm going to put a couple zeros. Doesn't matter. I think I just need 1 there, because I want to go 2 places. 1, 2, and I'm back. Get rid of that. 290%. So I went from 2 and 9 tenths to 2.9, move the decimal over back into place to be here, and I get 290%. Okay? So if I have a test that has 10 questions, I get 29 of them right, which seems impossible. Maybe there must have been extra credit. So I get 29 out of 10. It's more than 100%. It's 290%, which is a pretty good grade if you're thinking that 100% is perfect. All right, let's do this one. 3 2/5. Now, I could go like I did over here. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2, 17/5. Okay, 17/5. And then I could divide that out. Okay? Or I could get this to a 10. I'm just going to divide it out. I like to take a fraction, divide it. So I'm going to take 17 divided by 5. Okay? And the calculator, you can go 17 divided by 5 equals 3.4. Okay? We know that 5 goes into, well, 3.4. Do it on the calculator. There's your decimal. Now, I want it as a percent, so I got to get this back to this symbol. So 3.4. I'm going to put another 0 here because it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, back to percent. So it's 340%. Here's my fraction. There's my decimal. There's my percent. And I could start with this percent and go back. That's what I did over there. So you're going to be able to flow easily between percents, decimals, fractions, decimals, percents. I always like to get decimal. Seems like for me a decimal is easy to go to either a fraction or to a percent. But I like to get to the decimal. That's my core. My core is my decimal. Okay, so now here I start with a decimal. So what I want to do first here doesn't really matter. I could go to a fraction or percent. I'm going to actually go to the percent first. Percent. And then I'll go to a fraction. Okay, so 2.5. And I want the percent symbol here. I'm going to have to add a 0 because I'm going to go 1, 2, back to that. Okay. So 2.5 is 250%. Now, I could either go to this one from this, or this. If I go from this, it's 2 and 5/10. And 5/10 is a half. 2 and 1/2. Or if I go from here, 250 out of 100. There's my percent. Then I could divide this. Let's go right here. 250 divided by 100. Doesn't go on 2, doesn't go, so it goes 2 times here, that's 200. And then I subtract that out, nothing more to bring down. So it's 2 and 50, 100. 50, 100 is 1/2. So it's 2 and a half. So my simple form of a fraction is 2.5, 250%, 2.5 decimal. I was able to start at a decimal, went to a percent, went to a fraction. Make this look like it. There you go. Okay, this one, 0.004, very small number, 0.004, and I want a percent, so I got to take it 2 over 1. 2 goes right there, and I got that back, and I get rid of this. I don't really need those zeros. 0.4. Okay, 0.4%. So 0.004 as a decimal is 4%. Now, I want to take this to a fraction. I'm going to go from here all the way to here. I know my place value. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it's 4 thousandths. 4 over 1,000, I can simplify that. Divided by 4, divided by 4, that gets me 1, and that gets me 250. Okay? So going from a decimal to a percent to a fraction. All right, kind of confusing, but I think if you can figure out how to get it to a decimal, and then you know the decimal, the place value will give you to the fraction, and also from the decimal, you just move it over right or left, depending on if you're going to a percent or if you're coming from a percent. All right, so let's practice this. Go ahead and watch my guided practice. You'll get a little bit more instruction, and then after that, you'll do some independent practice and then extra practice.